They told us markets would make life free and fair, but they didn't mention the fine print. Freedom came with a price tag, and only billionaires could pay it. The world we live in now, where a tiny handful of people can bend laws, influence elections, and outspend entire countries, wasn't an accident. It was engineered. Not in Silicon Valley, not on Wall Street, but in the offices of two leaders who promised to save their nations from economic chaos, Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan. Back in the late 1970s, things were messy. Britain was called the sick man of Europe, with inflation hitting 25%. In America, oil prices were skyrocketing, interest rates were above 20%, and the scary word stagflation haunted every discussion. Governments had spent freely after the war, but that system was crumbling. People wanted stability. Markets wanted freedom. That's when Thatcher and Reagan found their answer, Milton Friedman and the Chicago School of Economics. They believed government intervention was a disease and free markets were the cure. If you just let prices float and competition run wild, the economy would magically fix itself. Sounds neat, right? But in reality, it was a dream that came with consequences. When Thatcher came to power in 1979, she didn't just tighten budgets, she triggered a brutal recession to prove a point. Unemployment doubled, towns went dark, industries collapsed, but to her, that was necessary discipline. Reagan did the same across the Atlantic. He cut the top income tax rates drastically, deregulated industries, and celebrated the idea of trickle-down economics. Spoiler, it trickled up, not down. The richest got richer, the middle class quietly shrank. Unions were crushed. Workers were shown clearly you could be replaced, and they were. Privatization swept through Britain and America. Public services, housing, utilities, and transportation became profit machines for private interests. The system wasn't broken, it was redesigned. By the 1980s, the era of industrial tycoons ended, and the age of financial billionaires began. Fast money, leverage, junk bonds, hostile takeovers, the economy now ran on extraction, speculation, and deregulated power. Reagan and Thatcher didn't just change laws, they changed minds. They taught people that relying on the state was weakness, and self-reliance meant freedom. The kicker? All of this came with a social cost. Healthcare, education, retirement, and wages became vulnerable. In the U.S. today, one broken bone, one layoff, or one medical emergency can ruin a family financially. Meanwhile, the same policies exported globally turned entire countries into laboratories for privatization and austerity. The richest 1% now owns more than the bottom 90% combined. Billions of dollars flow through markets faster than any government can track. Corporations and billionaires have balance sheets bigger than countries, and they can shape laws, elections, and economies without a single vote. The world Thatcher and Reagan built promised liberty. What it really delivered was a system where freedom is a commodity, inequality is normal, and billionaires are untouchable. They didn't shrink the state, they shrank your slice of the future. History doesn't just repeat, it compounds, and if you don't understand how this system was built, you'll live inside it, wondering why you can never catch up while someone else gets richer in their sleep.